It's day 2. So look, I'm very excited to do our second day in our series, How to Write a Book in 30 Days. And I'm here today to offer you some motivation. You already got your instructions. You ought to write 5 pages a day, which you should be doing in a composition book. And you are not to redo what you've already done. Very important. I'm going to be reiterating this on a regular basis. So now I want to start with this quote. And I'm actually coming from my book. This whole series is from my book, The End, How to Write a Book in 30 Days. It says how to write a novel in 30 days. So this is coming from this. So I'm going to start with a quote. A quote says, "A lot of people talk about writing. The secret is to write, not talk." And that's so important because I don't want you to be too hard on yourself. What we are doing over these 30 days, what we're doing is very clear. We are getting our very first draft done. Never underestimate the power of the first draft because some people don't even do that. Okay? Most people who say they're going to write a book don't. But you're not going to be like most people. So first, I just want to tell you that I'm proud of you. And I want you to think about what happened in my journey when I was writing. Okay, so I remember pouring my heart into my very first book, Rainbow Heart, right? I described how the sun shined. I described how tiny the apartment was. I described at one point like an entire meal, nothing based on characterizations, just describing everything was on the plate. And sometimes I think in a few of those scenes, nobody even ate it. But I described all of this. And at the end of the day, I forgot 2 things. Number 1, I forgot to have fun. Okay, because writing should be fun. Don't listen to these scholars and these gurus and these experts who want you to believe that writing feels like suicide. It shouldn't. It should be fun. And the second thing was I forgot just to write the damn book. I spent so much time in my very first book writing foolishness and things that did not apply that it took me forever to write the book. I remember I was telling you guys it took over a year. Why? Folks can write a book in 48 hours if you have skills. I've seen folks write it in less time than that. I've been known to do a book in 24 hours. But you have to have structure before you do those things. You just can't come into writing a book. You're not going to be able to do it. I'm sorry, babies. You're going to have an outline. So it doesn't take you, what I'm trying to say is it doesn't take you a year. But it took me a year because I was doing things that didn't matter. This is why I told you on our day 1 to make sure that you avoid extensive description. If it does not apply to the story or if it's not story altering, I gave an example in my page-by-page book planner, of a speck of blood being on her shirt. If that blood is a key factor that will come into play later on, write it. But if you're just describing a bunch of clothes and all that, just say she dressed, do parentheses, and she dressed cute. And then when you're putting that book into your processor, then you'd be a little bit more elaborate. So on day 2, I want to remind you to remember what I talked about on day 1, to avoid extensive descriptions. And I also want you to do these little exercises that we'll have. Trust me, what I'm trying to do is to wake up that brain of yours, especially if you haven't written a book before, to get your creative juices flowing, to get them revved up, okay? Because if this is your first book, chances are you've never done this before. You know, you may not be as inspired. I was inspired when I wrote my second and third book because I had lost my job and I knew I could take care of myself, if I just tried. So I was motivated. But you may not be motivated yet. So I'm going to give you these exercises. I want you to think about this. Who was the most interesting person that you run into today or within this week? And then why? Think about what made them interesting. Think. Don't just say, because they was cute. What did they say? What did they do that made you think that they were interesting? These are the kind of things that you need to be thinking about when you're writing a book because they're revving up your juices, okay? How does this person make you feel? What did you talk about? Do you want to speak with them again? If so, why? Because what we're trying to do is pull out the characteristics from this interesting person. And it could be somebody that you have seen. Say you don't meet a lot of interesting person, because the chances are we don't meet a lot of interesting people. I may be the coolest one y'all know. Who knows? But let's say you don't meet a lot of interesting people. Then what about somebody that you know, who you thought about that you've met before in your past? It could be somebody that's around you. Think about those things and then write them down. Write them down. Take another sheet of paper. I know you're saying toy. You said just a composition book. Okay, I lied. Okay, so grab a sheet of paper, not out of your composition book, and just jot down the answers to these questions. Who is the most interesting person that you've run into? How does this person make you feel? What did you all talk about? If you didn't talk to them directly, what did the person who talked to them talk about? And do you want to speak with them or meet them again? And if so, why? Grab them characteristics. Hold on to them for your dear life. And then write it down. You never know when you may need it later. All right, babies. I'll be back for day 3. Bye-bye.